didn't show, he didn't respond, and he lost the lawsuit already. And I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to show you what's going on. All subject to be clarified by Steve McRae. Making sure I put that in. This is my initial reaction, y'all. I'll probably get a couple things wrong. What I won't get wrong is what happened in the paperwork, though. But more importantly, I'm going to show you a few people who you need to look out for going into the future. Because they... how do you say it? They stabbed Steve in the back. They supported Kyle knowing that he was stealing the channel. You can't even hear me. Welcome, and once again, Skype messes up my webcam, so I'll fix that. We're going to watch a video that I recorded before I went live with Steve McRae. I just got off of the live stream with Steve. I explain everything right here, and then I will tell you what's going on. And we've got a lot to do, though. There's a lot of points that I want to make because it's pretty much the end of the road here. Take a listen. And they were okay with it solely because they didn't like Steve. Tjump, Godless Engineer. I would name a few more people. I might name Nate Brody for a few things that Nate Brody did deceptively in this, but I'll go ahead and leave him out just for the sake of I didn't collect any tweets or any evidence on him, and I'll just leave him out of this. But when it comes to Godless Engineer, I'm going to show you in this video that he knew that Kyle stole the channel. He knew that Kyle hadn't paid Steve, and just because him and his wife, girlfriend, just because they didn't like Steve, they, I'm going to show you what they did do. Because I saved it. Because I had a feeling Godless Engineer would change his tune, try to sweep it under the rug. Okay, and before I go on here, I just want to make sure I stress, I'm not trying to start any drama. I mean, it is a little bit of a bad situation. I don't want to start drama with Godless Engineer, but I definitely want to... when I have a channel that does a similar thing that Godless Engineer does, I just do it different than he does, and I have different topics that I cover than he does. It's important for us to call each other out when we mess up on a story, or when we go further than just messing up on a story. So no offense to him or anything, solely in the realm of how he handled this situation. Here you go. And then try to act like it never happened, and that's exactly what he's doing. So let's get into this right now. So let's start off with showing... By the way, there were supposed to be edits and cuts in this, and I didn't do it because I got invited into Steve's show, so I just went ahead and played you the raw footage. Showing you what happened. North Carolina, Steve McRae versus Kyle Curtis. Now comes plaintiff Stephen McRae through his undersigned counsel pursuant to Rule 55 of the North Carolina Rules of Civil Procedure, and moves the court for the entry of default against defendant Kyle Russell Curtis for failure to appear, answer, or otherwise respond to the complaint within 30 days after the service of the summons and complaint. In support hereof, plaintiff relies on the affidavit of service of process filed contemporaneously herewithin and shows the court as followed. 1. The action was commenced by the filing of summons and complaint on August 23rd of 19. 2. August 30th of 2019, defendant was duly served via certified mail, return receipts requested, addressed of his place of residence. 3. Defendant's time to answer or otherwise respond to the complaint expired September 30th of 2019. 4. Defendant failed to appear, answer, or otherwise respond within the allotted time. 5. Defendant is neither a minor nor an incompetent person. Wherefore, plaintiffs respectfully pray that the default be entered against defendant based on his failure to appear, answer, or otherwise respond. Now let's go ahead and show you what else is here. Let me make sure I'm at the bottom. Yep. All right. Okay. Well, I'm going to, of course, jump in and out throughout that video. So what does this mean, essentially? It means that Kyle basically avoided any type of response to the paperwork Steve filed. If you recall, we told you, Steve told us, and we talked about it on a live show, that Steve had actually filed in court everything he had to do, and they were just waiting on Kyle to respond, and he had 30 days. That 30 days is up, and it's really weird because instead of... we just learned this, actually, on Steve's live stream. Do I have a bit... I don't have anything behind this. Oh, damn, I closed it. Somebody's going to have to tell me. So tonight, what are we going to do? We're going to show you how Kyle didn't respond, and therefore... it's already been judged for Steve. Of course, it's going to be in court. They're going to have to handle what Steve will get. We could assume he's suing for, I think, $100,000 plus legal fees, plus the show, plus the Teespring was mentioned. And to have all of this clarified, you can go to Steve's channel and watch the live stream that we just did. I just want to get like a quick response up over here too. So we're going to talk about all that. I just lost track of what I was saying. So the next thing we're going to do tonight is I'm going to show you the tweets that I saved with Godless Engineer and how he responded and why he handled it the wrong way. And I'm even going to be cool about this and be like kind about it and try to give him a little bit of advice on what he could do to fix this. Now, when it comes to Tjump, I don't think Tjump, I'm not saying the Godless Engineer can fix it, by the way. I'm saying right now he's in the negative with the entire community. I know for some reason he doesn't care. I'm going to go into how he should, why he should in a minute. Tjump, on the other hand, was another creator on the bandwagon against Steve, illogically, against all evidence, without any type of really good thought behind it. And that's strange because Tjump is trying to start a YouTube channel basically off of the attention that he got with all of this. Look, it says right here, I've never seen that before. Inside of his like YouTube icon, it says subscribe now. Damn, bro, you must be wanting some subs, huh? And if you scroll down in Tjump's channel, you find out that Tjump actually started posting very regularly after he came out in favor of Kyle against Steve. So, you know what I'm going to say. These creators, in my opinion, did not expect for Kyle to literally be recorded admitting to everything. Then they thought, oh, it's okay. We can go into a damage control narrative that it doesn't matter if Kyle was recorded admitting to everything because you have to prove it in a court of law, which failed for these guys. Didn't work for Tjump, and it didn't work for Godless Engineer. I don't know if Godless Engineer tried that or not, but anyway, then, though, as the community took Steve's side, 99% of the entire community took Steve's side because of that video. These guys tried to do damage control of the greatest for Kyle, of the greatest magnitude for Kyle, and it did not work out for them in any way, shape, or form. We're going to go to all those places. Let me go ahead and play a little more of this video. I give all the receipts, as the cool kids say. I give you all the receipts here, which is just screen caps of Twitter conversations, and we may go look at, we might react to the illogical, crazy defense of Kyle that Tjump gave in 2 debates. I don't know how anyone can still support people who debate because they have this thing they're putting out that they're logical and they know the subject matter well, but then you find out that there's not a bit of logic in them. Because they're willing to defend criminal behavior with just the most illogical reasoning. Anyway, let me go ahead and play the video. I say it so much better there, so here you go. All right. Once again, I apologize for not being completely prepared for this stream because I just got done streaming for hours on Steve's channel. That's why I'm not prepared, so I'm winging it. We will now be asking for the list of remedies as given by the initial complaint, including reinstatement of channel to me as well as significant monetary compensation. What do we got? Cajun says, I think Kyle buried his head in the sand on this one. I do too, my friend. If anyone knows the name, that's what I was going to say earlier and I forgot. If anybody knows the name of Kyle's new channel, it has something to do with cooking. I'd like to pull it up tonight also and go through the comments section because what is it? Taste Craft? So it's like Minecraft, but instead of mine, it's taste. Another point I want to make. Steve did... Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Another point I want to make. Steve did not know about Tastecraft. I did not know about Tastecraft. We all discovered Tastecraft today. So all these comments, all the hate that he's getting on Tastecraft, you can't say, hey, Kyle Defenders, you cannot say it came from our camp. You cannot say it came from us. So let's, hell, why not? It'd be fun. Let's see what Tastecraft is really fast. Under the fair use article in the description. Okay. That was cool. That was cool. If you scroll down on Tastecraft's first video, October 1st, fork. October 1st, fork, yeah. It's like, what show's that, Rachel? Team America, October 1st, fork, yeah. Gonna steal a business and start a cooking show. Oh, I'm such a dick. Oh, man. Okay, so I gotta stop. Anyway. So here is Tastecraft, Kyle's channel. I just found this today. Steve just found out about this today. Cheshire is the one that found this. So basically, all these comments from 6 days ago, 2 days ago, 11 hours ago, 1 day ago. Now here's 1 hour ago, so we won't read Sheena's, even though I love you, Sheena. Good to see you over there. Let's sort by the top comments. Okay, Sheena's is one of the top comments already. You think you can run from your reputation as a con? Think again. Okay, I might have something to do with Sheena leaving that, because Sheena's one of my people. I love Sheena to death. And Sheena was probably watching us over on Steve's channel when we found this an hour ago. So anyway, we're going to do so much good shit tonight, but all of it moves towards a goal. And that goal is for all of us, not me, not Steve, all of us as a group, as a community, as a giant mishmash of people, we get to stand up and say, I told you so, to the group of haters that have literally been, I mean, I don't usually like to use these words, but I'm going to in this situation, cyber stalking Steve McRae because of a crime that was perpetrated against him. It's the same kind of logic that Authentic Intent tried to use as a defense mechanism with his issue. If you don't know about that, you're going to have to watch my video from last week, but I'm not going to go into it tonight. Same kind of logic there, like, hey, not only am I going to steal from you, commit a crime against you, not only am I going to take everything you have and burn it to the ground, but then I'm going to turn a community of people against you and incite them to go around and call you names, put you down, and say that you're the criminal, which is, it's a big sandwich of, I don't want to curse on this channel, but I'm going to tonight just for the F of it. It's a big sandwich of shit with just layer after layer after layer, all against Steve, and he doesn't deserve it, and this is what you get. I went live with this. Even though we've covered this a few times, I'm going live with this because this is what you get for trying to do this. I've said it a million times over. I've said it to the Q idiots. I've said it to the pizza idiots. I've said it to the flat earth idiots. I've said it to all of them. If you're going to get up on YouTube and lie to a big group of people and try to defraud them out of money, try to turn communities against each other by lying about anyone that criticizes you, if you're going to attempt this, we aren't just going to sit back idly anymore and let it happen. We are going to call you out. We are going to log the evidence, and if you try to strike us down as one of, like FE Core, like some of the Q guys did, like Defango did to me, if you're going to strike us down, we are going to post it on so many YouTube channels you'll never be able to strike it down, as is our right. So you will not get away with doing this shit anymore. Nice try, Kyle. Nice try, Tjump. I hate saying this out loud. I do. A lot of people are going to say, why? UNIRock just hate the guy. Because I watched his channel. He hangs out with a lot of creators that he hung out with creators that I respected. I still respect, honestly. But also, Godless Engineer, you too. You did. Look, another part of this is like, I don't know how Godless Engineer or Tjump or even Kyle could think that none of the other creators in the community would stand up and defend Steve and document this and pull screenshots and do this kind of like work that we do. Why would they think we wouldn't do it? Why would they think we would just sit idly by? Because it would make us hypocrites. For anyone that went on non sequitur, gained from it, and did not weigh in on this in some way, you're kind of hypocritical in that for not weighing in. And I'll tell you why. Because the non-sec, as a lot of our channels are, we have content that's geared towards calling out people, calling out a flat earther for lying about boats not disappearing from the bottom up, and then shifting their narrative to boats get smaller, but you can't tell because of mirages. And, you know, that's the same thing here. Calling them out is the same thing that we're doing in calling out Godless Engineer or Tjump. It's not an offense. It's not a troll or something. It's not anything wrong. It's what needs to happen if we aren't going to be labeled hypocrites. And I'm sorry to say it, there's a lot of creators in Steve's community that are now looked at as hypocrites, because they had no problem running over to Non Sequitur and going on their show, being a guest, and advertising their channel and arguing about one of the topics that they talked about. But for some reason, many channels that used to help Steve or hang out around Steve or gained from Steve and Kyle decided to just ignore the whole situation. And that's how you know they're being hypocritical. I'm not talking about anybody specific. I'm talking about, if they felt that Kyle was right and Steve was doing wrong, why didn't they call Steve out? They knew Steve was being wronged in this, but why didn't they call Kyle out then? They didn't know if the community would respond favorably or in a negative way. And you notice that a lot here. I think that's what happened with Godless Engineer, and I'm going to prove my case, or else I wouldn't bring it up. I'm going to prove my case of why in just a second. I think that at first he thought, well, it's okay, Kyle, because you're going to go out and tell people that you didn't have a 50-50, and of course there's going to be 100 people that know that's not true, but there's going to be a lot of other people that aren't that invested in the community, and so they still watch every day, and they still watch whenever they can, so they're not going to know, and they're just going to default to your side. So we're going to maintain this big community with us after this happens. And I think that's what Godless Engineer and Kyle and and Mr. Atheist and those guys thought. Hey, you'll still have your community. You'll lose some of the Steve supporters. You'll still have your community, though, so just close your eyes and get through the rough week, and then as people start to forget about this, barrel on and don't worry about it. But this is one of the first situations where, well, for one, it's due to Kyle's stupidity. He went literally into a recording studio, sat down and said, I'm locking you out. I'm stealing the channel. If you have a problem with it, sue me. You get less money. I don't care about our agreement. I know I don't have the authority to do this. Ha, ha, ha. And he got recorded doing it. And it changed the entire outcome. As soon as that video went out, it started getting views. It started just shooting up. People started sharing it like crazy. Like, holy shit, look at Kyle Curtis. Why was it so powerful at first? Because it was a different Kyle Curtis. That's not the Kyle Curtis I saw, right? When he's on the Death of the Non-Sex show and he's saying, sue me, Steve. I don't care if you can't do it. I don't care if I don't have the 51% I need to make this call against your 49. I don't care if it's 50-50. You're out. Less money. Whatever. See, you wouldn't want to be you. Peace. No one expects Kyle Curtis just all of a sudden to be that guy. It's like, damn, Kyle, if you're being so true and real, why didn't we see that on the Non-Sex show every week? We just saw you sit there while everybody else talked and you read comments and shout outs. Where's that Kyle on the show, right? But imagine what Mr. Atheist and Kyle and Godless Engineer thought when that video dropped. Imagine what they thought, right? All of a sudden, it's like they're turning it on. They're clicking it, and they're like, oh, my God, Kyle. Why did you say that shit to Steve inside of the studio, Kyle? Why didn't you call him on the phone, Kyle? Like, they had to have just been pissed because they knew it would have a massive effect. It's Kyle getting busted. And because of that, we now know the truth. We know that Kyle was two-faced on his show. When the Kyle that sat there and said, hey, now, me and Steve were never partners. You're being two-faced, dude. We've got the Death of the Non-Sec to look at. And it made the entire situation. I've said this whole time, and I know I'm beating a dead horse, but I have to. Damn if we didn't have that video. If Kyle would not have acted that way inside that studio. And then, though, I just found this out from Steve, but Godless Engineer was bitching about how, oh, yeah, but you recorded Kyle without his consent. In a recording studio. In a studio, he got recorded without his... What did he expect would happen when he joined the recording studio? You know, like, when they record in the studio every time they talk, did he, like, think that they wouldn't record? You know what I'm saying? Like, anyway, okay. I'm getting way ahead of myself. I'm just so fucking happy, guys. Seriously. When I saw the Death of the Non-Sequitur show, and when I saw how Steve was getting his channel taken from him, I know how bad that is. I know how bad that would suck. I've lost a channel. I got it back, my main channel. I lost monetization on it, and I almost had it deleted when I had some false strikes on me, and when I started over here on UNIRock too, and it had 38,000 subs when that happened. So I could imagine how Steve felt, and I'm so fucking happy that now he can take Steve has been sitting back and worrying. Oh my God, when I go to court, is Kyle going to show up? Is he going to lie? Is the judge going to buy it? Am I going to walk out of here screwed? Like, what's going to happen? And thank the good Lord, man, today that Steve can exhale and actually relax, knowing, like, I vindicated myself. I am vindicated. Anyone in the community that wants to stand up and do the shit they've been doing to Steve, where they call him a liar, they call him a criminal, they call him all these things. They say that Kyle had 100% the whole time and that Steve's lying and all this. Now they are the liar. That's what happened tonight. Tonight it was ironed in stone. Tonight it was fucking chipped into the stone wall, man. They are the liars. The people that stood up and said, Tjump, you're a liar. You lied. You. It was unethical for you to defend Kyle, Tjump, in that debate. And now it's proven in a court of law, big guy. Remember, you know what? I'm getting ahead of myself again. It's just I'm ecstatic. Let me play a little more of the video that I recorded when Steve invited me on his show, and then we're going to get in tonight into all this. We're going to take a look at the entire big thing, because this is the final hurrah when it comes to this topic. Now, all we do now is figure out, Steve will just let us know what the judge says about how much money and what he can do about getting the non-sex show back, if the judge allows it and all that. I'm sure the judge will, because Kyle broke his the proven 50-50. Oh, also, by the way, on Twitter, Steve released some paperwork that shows that it was a partnership, a 50-50 partnership the whole time. Steve has definitely met his burden of proof, and the courts agree. So I don't know how we've got anyone else out there. Oh, is it a conspiracy theory, Tjump? Is this all a giant conspiracy theory, Tjump? I do love me a good conspiracy theory, Tjump, and I love saying your name like this. Tjump. I might just find many reasons to say your name tonight because of how much I love to say your name now. Tjump. Okay, I'm way off topic now. Last thing I'm going to say, we're changing Tjump's name tonight. I have this habit. When somebody gets busted on the show, we have a habit of changing their name. Now Tjump becomes Tjump. All right, let's get started. Steve thinks Kyle's lawyer being the lowest GPA in his class has helped me tremendously. Of course, he's talking about this funny Twitter account that somebody made. It's really awesome. And we've got evidence that Kyle and I had an understanding of it being a general partnership. And I know you guys remember me warning you against Tjump. Why did I warn you against Tjump? Because Tjump took the attention that he got from sticking his nose in and blindly defending Kyle, and he took that and started to try to grow his YouTube channel. As you see, back when all this started, Tjump had been doing a few videos here and there, but he's been doing regular videos ever since the death of the Non Sequitur Show. Because he's trying to use the death of the Non Sequitur Show that he stuck his nose in defending Kyle wrongly through the whole thing to grow a YouTube presence, get debates, go out there and do his thing. Avoid this guy like the plague. He does not know what he's talking about. He has no type of moral. He doesn't really care to tell you what's really going on. He's willing to lie to you in a situation if it benefits him and if it benefits one of his friends, being Kyle in this situation. If you think he's not going to do that in the future, you're wrong. So why would you follow somebody on YouTube debating and giving you logical opinions on things when you know the person is biased as hell? I don't want any drama against Godless Engineer, and I mean that. This is not some type of thing against any other creator. It's not even a thing against Godless Engineer. I just want to correct a record. Godless Engineer has tweeted out, I don't want anything to do with this. Leave me alone. Don't tag me. Don't post to me. He doesn't have the right to do that, in my opinion, and I'm going to show you why, provably here. People have released some of their DMs with permission from him. I have some of his saved tweets where he was doing these things to Steve. You can't just go in and delete a bunch of your tweets from the past and then turn around because the death of the Non Sequitur came out and then go around saying, don't tweet me on this, don't message me on this. And that's exactly what Godless Engineer did. That's why I have an issue. It's a valid criticism. It's not an attack. It's not stirring up drama. Everyone always says UNIRock stirring up drama again. No, I'm freaking not, man. I kind of am, but I'm not. But he's not being honest. And if I'm going to call out flat earthers, if I'm going to call out what the red pillars do to defraud and lie to people in order to get donations, and if I'm going to call out the illogical things that go on out there, I have to be able to call out a debunker that does the same stuff, that behaves the same way. So I could go on more and more and more because it's just, but you need to watch this, look a month later if you want to get the full thing. That leads, it's my video, Non Sequitur Show, a look a month later, and it breaks down all of this. That has to do with the deleted tweets and what I just mentioned. To here. So, Atheist Edge was talking to Godless Engineer, and here's what he said. Godless Engineer stated, I'm biased with Steve. I never denied that. Yes, you did. You did deny that. You did. You did deny that you were biased against Steve. You said you didn't like the guy, but you were being neutral and fair in this. You acted like, you used your influence to act like Steve and Kyle, Kyle was doing the right thing, and you used your influence to push that and to get followers to believe it, knowing that Kyle stole the show. And this is why, until you come out and apologize, I won't even be able to make my mind up whether I ever forgive you for this. And I don't care about forgiving him. Look, like I said, I don't want any drama. All I want to say is the community has to have the true data. And for someone to put out later on, like, hey, Steve, stop tagging me. Then Casey, which is, or Mrs. Godless Engineer, whatever, whoever she is, can't change lies in history, says Dav. So true, my bro. Godless Engineer's wife came out and tried to act like Steve was like harassing them by tagging them on Twitter. And all Steve was doing was replying to this craziness that they had been going on. Now, were they being lied to by Kyle? Yes, I do think so. But was there evidence on the internet being tagged to them that gave them the truth, so that once they realized, holy shit, Kyle was lying to me? Do you realize the impact it would have had if Godless Engineer would have stood up and said, I just saw the death of the Non Sequitur Show, UNIRock and a bunch of people tagged it to me. I have to call out Kyle for lying. And he admitted in the death of the Non Sequitur it was 50-50. He admitted he was going to kick Stephen Bull off. He said he did it live then. He said he told them to sue him. And, you know, they could have stood up and said that. And so many followers, which I'm about to show you here, literally said on Twitter, well, Godless Engineer and Kyle, I follow you guys, so I'm going to believe you in this. Take a look. But I probably won't. But so, no, he removed Bull. He had no reason to. I would see his point if it was only Steve, but he did it to Bull as well. Oh, such hard effing evidence, says Godless Engineer. Well, and I want to elaborate a little bit. I want to make sure you've seen it so that people don't say I'm attacking him. I'm not. But he says, oh, such hard effing evidence. Kyle removed Bull. Such hard effing evidence. I always said this in my old videos on the subject. I said that if Godless Engineer's wife would have removed him from the YouTube channel, thrown all of his stuff on the front yard and kicked him out, wouldn't he kind of be like doing a new YouTube channel, talking about how his wife shouldn't have done that and the community should support him and stuff? You get me? It's really strange to see that one side of the discussion constantly was never putting themselves in the shoes of Steve and blindly defending Kyle. Anyway, I'm interrupting myself. Please continue, me. That's not all. So there was a response hypocrisy, I would say. Very true. Now I'm just going to have to click through this. So then Godless Engineer later, I never said I wanted Steve out. I'm not a liar. I don't like Steve. I never said otherwise. Well, you did, though. Kyle was ending whatever relationship with Steve he had. I don't see how that's unethical. If Steve wanted to be protected legally, he should have done so and had many opportunities. Why don't you want Steve to take responsibility for his bad decisions, says Godless Engineer. Okay, so that's one of Godless Engineer's points. Let's go to the full screen studio so that you can actually see it. Or so that I can see it. Okay, where was I here? I want to pull this up on my screen. All right. So, this is Godless Engineer. I never said that I wanted Steve out. I'm not a liar. I don't like Steve. Never said otherwise. You're not going to find this stuff if you go search for it now. It's gone. Then he said, Kyle was ending whatever relationship with Steve he had. I don't see how that's unethical. If Steve wanted to be protected legally, he should have done so and had many opportunities. This is another instance where Godless Engineer wants to act like that the verbal agreement and the verbal agreement and it being legally binding doesn't matter. It does. Just like if his girlfriend would have kicked him out and taken his channel that he built and he was the face of, right? He wouldn't have this opinion in that situation. And why don't you want Steve to take responsibility for his bad decisions? We all did want Steve to. I think Steve has. That's the issue here. He was so forthcoming about every piece of the puzzle. I'm not defending Steve because I was Steve's friend. I really didn't interact with him much before this whole thing happened. I hooked up with Steve after I made a response video to the Death of the Non Sequitur show. But I'd talked about Non Sequitur many times, and I'd played clips of the Non Sequitur many times on my channel and for other reasons in my live streams. So my point being, I don't think anybody was just blindly defending Steve. We were looking at the evidence. We were saying to ourselves, okay, you know, he's being forthcoming. He can prove what he's saying. Really strange. Then he says, I don't consider it immoral either. So yes, Godless Engineer, you were active in conversations on Twitter up until the community shifted. The minute the community shifted to back Steve, because when we all came out, when I came out, when everybody came out in the beginning, we had no clue where the community would go, because we made videos. And it was before the community had gotten Steve's back. He was getting basically a lot of hate from people who apologized to Steve later and then said, look, I was wrong. You know, I'm sorry. Kyle had me fooled. A lot of that changed later, right? There was a bunch of people that stood up and said, no, we're defending Steve because it's right. And that was when the community was against Steve. Steve didn't have the numbers. Got me? This is what Godless Engineer was saying when Steve didn't have the numbers. Now we're going to go into what Godless Engineer and his wife said once Steve had the numbers. And I think that exercises my point. The last thing, Kyle is honoring the deal that he would give him the half the profit. Why would he give him half the profit, though? If this was 100% Kyle's business and Kyle's, you know, this is the thing. Even what GE said back when Kyle had the brunt of the support of the community, even the stuff GE said didn't make sense if it was 100% Kyle or even 80% Kyle. You get me? Why would there ever be a 50-50 profit-wise for Steve when Kyle owns the channel? Do you see what I'm saying there? Kyle has always wanted to give Steve his money. Then, hey, Godless Engineer, listen up. Steve wants it under the table, and now that's not ever going to happen. I've seen screenshots that prove otherwise from Steve. There's no screenshots that I've seen that show that Steve ever wanted his money under the table or that he did anything illegal in saying, don't pay me yet, let me go. Make sure my shit's set before you pay me. That's what anybody would say. Now, Godless Engineer, I just showed you a tweet where he's talking. No, I didn't show this tweet. There are tweets out there, though, where they say they did not say that Steve was a criminal. That he didn't. They were not implying that he was doing criminal things, and that's why Kyle couldn't pay him. You were, and I got the evidence on my screen. One more time. Kyle is honoring the deal that he would give him half the profit. Kyle has always wanted to give Steve his money. Steve wants it under the table, and now that's not going ever to happen. So let me say this. What does a person say? What does a person do, like a boss, when they go to pay their employee or they go to pay somebody out 50%, and that person says, I want it under the table. Do they keep the money? No. They say, I'm not paying you under the table. I'm writing you a check. I'm logging it in my books, and it'll be up to you what you do with it, right? So yes, Godless Engineer, one more time, this is why I have a right to criticize him without it being an attack or a troll. You did imply that Steve was trying to do illegal things on Twitter, much more than what I'm showing, but this is what I have right now. And I could go dig through my entire archive. It's just giant. But if I have to, I guess I could. I don't think I'll have to. I don't think he'll even respond. But this is why it's like I said, it's not an attack. It's not me being a dick. But for Godless Engineer, for no reason whatsoever, to say that Steve wanted it under the table, why can't you prove that, right? I've never even heard Kyle say it that way. Even Kyle had admitted that Steve wanted him to hold the money for a short period of time, not pay him under the table, not do something illegal. And if that's the case, why are you spitting Kyle's defense? Well, I'll tell you why. Because, yes, this is Kyle's defense. He's doing it solely because the brunt of the community, at this time, the brunt of the community was behind Kyle. There wasn't a big shift yet. So let me continue playing. Let me get my screen set back and continue playing this. Here's what happened after the community sided with Steve. I'll get there in just a second. Take a listen. Says Godless Engineer. Hey, Godless Engineer. He did protect himself legally. But when you're a partner with somebody and they steal everything from you and they break the law and they defraud you and they refuse to pay you, you end up having to go to court. And in the meantime of that, with all the evidence that was out there, you still railed against Steve just because of your personal bias. I don't consider it immoral either. Well, that's the problem. Let me skip ahead a little bit because I've already done that. I've already done this with you myself, so we don't have to hear this part. Okay, here we go. Leave me out of this now and in the future. Quit tagging me. Quit mentioning me. Stop. Okay. So this is why, yes, it's 100% valid for not only Steve, but for anyone, in my opinion, to criticize Godless Engineer over this. And Tjump's just not even a question. But after the community shifts over and is behind Steve, now it's time for people who publicly supported Kyle illogically and immorally. Now it's time for them to hit the brakes and say, oh no, you cyber stalker, you got to stop tagging me. You've got to leave me out of this. You just called the man a criminal. You just tried to inject a narrative into a community full, and you know this happens, Godless Engineer, because we fight this in the Flat Earth community. We fight this in the other conspiracy communities. You know that if a creator puts out a narrative, some people, because they trust the creator or because they like the community or whatever reason may be, maybe they believe in what the person's saying, but it doesn't apply here, but you will get a number of followers to jump on the hate train against Steve solely because of that tweet I showed you. He wanted him paid under the table, and Kyle wasn't going to break the law. Kyle is the good guy. Steve's the bad guy. He wanted his money under the table. Kyle says, oh no, now I don't have to pay you ever. I'm keeping it. And so now that Steve complains later, and by the way, if Steve was such a big criminal, why did he continue allowing Steve on the show? He did, by the way, let him come on. I know you're going to say in the end he didn't. Sure, but he did after some of this happened. But, okay, anyway. Leave me out of this. Leave me out of this in now and in the future. By the way, that's a really bad sentence, dude. Quit tagging me. Quit mentioning me. Stop. So Godless Engineer is of the, and he tagged Non-Sex Show and Steve. He's of the camp that thinks that he gets to jump up, accuse Steve of a crime, put Steve down, get a big old mob of people because they believe God, not putting down the people, the majority of them, because they just believed Godless Engineer, but get a mob of people to go, maybe keep going at Steve, maybe put a little bit more of that narrative. We're the oppressed group of people that are trying to stand up for the law, and Steve's right-wing hate trolls are trying to say, who cares about the law? We like Steve. And that narrative was bullshit from the beginning, and it was just really messed up. Steve actually replies with a great reply. Now you want to be left out. Oh, fuck you, man. You haven't seen the beginning of this shitstorm heading your way. Your fans are seeing you for what you are. Like I said, that's the audience had shifted to Steve. Godless Engineer wants to bail. Okay, let's move on. This is what Godless Engineer said once the audience started to back Steve, and once he realized that, oh my gosh, it's not going to be beneficial for me to go on the Non-Sequitur Show anymore now that the audience is gone. I better tell everybody to leave me alone and just try to move on and do what I do, because he started losing a lot of subs. He knew that it was a 50-50 partnership. He knew, and just because he didn't like Steve. Oh, by the way, yes, thank you for reminding me myself. Wrong room, busy. Okay, this also shows that Godless Engineer also agrees and knows that it was a 50-50 partnership. He's stating here, and I should have said this a minute ago, I'm sorry, but he's stating here, hey, Kyle is honoring the deal that you guys made. What was the deal, Godless Engineer? Half the profit. Wait, I have to bring this up. This is a good point. Kyle is honoring the deal that he would give him half the profit. So he's honoring that deal. He's not honoring the perpetuity. He's not honoring you get to stay on the channel you built. Okay, got it. But this does show that Godless Engineer, he knew what the deal was. It was 50-50. He knew that Kyle didn't have... I just want to make sure it sinks in. This kind of shows that he knew that Kyle doesn't have the right to just kick Steve off when it's a 50-50 thing. You know, you can't make those kind of decisions without 51% or 60%. Okay. He backed Kyle because his entire channel, everything, and tried to show happen that it was a 50-50 partnership. He knew, and just because he didn't like Steve, he backed Kyle and tried to woo the audience. And for those of you that ask me why it is that I do what I do, back when the death of the Non Sequitur show happened and I noticed that people were still defending Kyle, I knew they were going to shift everything. I'll handle this from here. Okay. So, yeah. A lot of people did ask me, like, why are you getting involved in this UNIRock? Why does it matter? Because I saw what was going on, and I knew it was in line with some flat earth craziness. You know, when I saw them trying to shift the blame, make Steve the criminal, and then I saw the death of the Non Sequitur show after that, I knew that it was going to change. I knew the community was going to get behind Steve after seeing that video. And what do people do when they have illogically backed somebody because there's no admission and the audience doesn't know? What happens when there's a gotcha moment, when someone gets busted? Those people start to do damage control. And that's what I've just shown you. The process of damage control. The process of, you know, hey, Steve is going to get his 50-50. Hey, they are honoring the deal. Kyle's the victim. Steve's the bad guy. They're all trolls, you know. Once the audience shifts over, it's just leave me alone. I want to go make my content with the... I want to make my content with the audience that I gained from being on non-sex so many times. And I'm not going to say Godless Engineer didn't get an audience also from outside of his of the non-sex show. Yes, he did earn his own subscribers, but he did get a big boost from being on the Non Sequitur show. He knew this. That's the thing that drives Mr. Atheist, Godless Engineer, and Tjump. Non-sec was such a freaking... How do you describe it? It was such a force, not only because it got a lot of views, it had a huge live audience and a very dedicated live audience, but even more than that, somebody going on there and getting to know the audience by being on the Non-Sex show as a guest or a co-host multiple times could go from 800 subs to 8,000 subs in a very short period of time. You saw it with a few people. It was that whole like viral thing that was happening at that point. And yes, Kyle shifting the show, taking it from what it was and moving it to this new thing did put a big damper. I just heard it from so many people, man. We would sit around and talk about Non Sequitur in my Discord, and everybody's like, it's so weird. It's like not what it used to be. Hey, non-sex going live. I don't like that shit anymore, man. They don't do the stuff we like anymore. And I heard that so much, right? Is it a condition of cockiness, like Steve said? Is it that Kyle thought it was him and not the content? Was it because Kyle didn't understand? I don't know, man. All I know is that when you notice that somebody... I said this to Steve. If it was a gaming channel and people watched Tjump because he played a video game, yeah, this wouldn't matter, right? But when you're debating things like ethics, when you're debating things like religion, when you're saying, hey, that religious group is messed up in the head, bro, and here's my logic and evidence behind why, how do we know now that Tjump isn't just doing it because he has a bias or because he has some grudge or because he's helping out a friend? You know, when you're willing to take that step in this community, it takes away the value of the content, in my opinion. All right, so what else are we doing tonight? Well, there's a lot we could do, but I'm a little bit of... I like a dumpster fire. I like dumpster fires way too much. So I want to go look in the comments section of Kyle's new channel. Tastecraft. It's like Minecraft, but for cooking. You're crafting the food. It'll be viral like Minecraft, won't it? Tastecraft, it's Kyle's new show, and he dared to upload a video on August 30th. I didn't know this till today, y'all, but a lot of people found it. And a lot of people left comments, and a lot of people hit the downvote button. So let's see what the comments say. All right. You know what? I'm getting ahead of myself. Hold up. We're going to go to these comments, but first I should give a final thought thing, and we're not done. Like I said, every night I try to write my show. I try to write an outline, have everything prepared, and I didn't get to do that tonight because I was on Steve's show, and I'm glad I went. I'm glad he invited me. I'm glad this is a impromptu show. Please, though, if you want to see what my regular show looks like, go take a look at one of my other nights. I write everything out. I get it ready for you all day, and we come here every night and stream. When it comes to Godless Engineer, I watched him. When I saw Team Skeptic, when I saw Fight the Flat Earth, when I'd been watching Non-Sec up to that point, I eventually found Godless Engineer's channel naturally, and I made content like them. I've made it for a long time. It was never the brunt of my content, though. So now I do a lot more content like Team Skeptic does, but I didn't used to. And I found Godless Engineer's channel. I watched him. I'm like asking myself, oh shit, what's this guy doing? You know, like what's Team Skeptic doing? What's Fight the Flat Earth doing? What's Non-Sec doing now? And my point is, I didn't just learn of Godless Engineer because of this situation. You know, he was even in several of my videos. I'd pulled clips of Godless Engineer reading from Jaren's apology letter, or I'm sorry, the letter that he sent to Behind the Curve, trying to get Behind the Curve to apologize to him, trying to force them to sign it. And in one of my videos, Kicked Out of Flat Earth, you'll see that Godless Engineer is reading that letter, and I pulled the clip from his channel instead of Jaren's channel just because I wanted to show, hey, go subscribe to Godless Engineer type thing. I wish he would just, it's not going to kill his show. It's what he doesn't realize. He's not going to kill his show. He's not going to do anything bad by getting up on the screen and saying, I was wrong. I was Kyle's friend. I should have this. I should have that. Whatever he may say. But I'm going to tell you right now, ignoring it is the absolute worst thing you can do in these situations. All right? I've gotten things wrong many times. I just get up on this screen as fast as I can and tell you I was wrong about that shit. In fact, I'm working on a video right now to correct some errors. I've just been busy, so I hadn't got it out yet. But you're going to be seeing a correction from me in the next few days as soon as I get it done. But my point is, that's what he should be doing. Now, Tjump, on the other hand, I want to pull him up because I want to talk. Oh, I already got him up. Good. I want to talk about this little freaking asshole. I don't like this guy at all. I find him to be pretentious and rude. I find him to not have any manners and just to be a nasty person. Of course, you're not going to see that from him most of the time. But if you do watch a couple of his debates, you'll see it coming through. Also, I find him trying to capitalize on the situation. He tried to schedule a lot of debates around the time that he was defending Kyle, and then it's almost like he wished that the audience would have stayed behind Kyle. Damn it, if that audience would have just stayed behind Kyle, my white knighting for Kyle could have earned me more subs, and I wouldn't have to put please subscribe inside my banner right here, inside my little name picture. I wouldn't have to put please subscribe. I'm please, I need subscribers. I have to put it right here inside this. I'm so desperate for those subscribers. They need to be here. I can't put it in a video. It's got to be on my picture. Anyway, I'm gonna talk about this guy a little bit because what he's trying to do, he's trying to hit a bunch of different. He defends Kyle. He takes the unpopular opinion. He argues it illogically and insanely. And then he goes and tries to schedule a bunch of debates on other channels and really get his name out there. And he starts uploading content a lot and trying to, if you notice his new thumbnails, he's trying to get the clickbait going just the tiniest bit. So I think it adds a layer of scumminess to the whole thing. Not only am I going to call you the criminal, Steve. Not only am I going to try to excuse the fact of what happened to you, but I want to gain from it. I want to get some subs and some cash from all this shit. So Yeah, we're not done with Tjump tonight. Just making sure you understand. All right, so we just looked at this. This is Kyle's new channel, Taste Craft. I don't get it. What's with the name Taste Craft? I mean, it's is it clever? Is it not clever? I don't know. I don't know. October 1st. October 1st. Fork, yeah. I'm not going to stop doing that tonight. That's going to happen at least 3 more times before the end of the show. Sorry. All right, so let's make sure we got top comments, and let's see what people are saying here. Sorry, folks, no show this week. I demanded the restaurant hand over their bank account because I believed they might attempt fraud sometime in the future, and I'm totally against things like that. They refused, so I'll attempt it with a different restaurant next week. Don't forget, I have a Patreon, too. And that's from a Mock Kyle account. I can't say it. I can't say the word Mock and Kyle in the same sentence. Hi, it's October 2nd. What's that emoji called? I want to know the name of that emoji. It's a perfect emoji. Is that a flat earth? What is that? There's going to be a delay for the first video because Kyle needs to make a new one. Kyle's original video was how to brew beer. No one liked the finished product because he removed the 5% that mattered. Such a good comment, man. See, these comments aren't just like milquetoast, kind of like, screw you, Kyle. These comments are clever. These comments have a little bit of meme to them, you know? Hey, there's Vinegar. 120 subs. That's like 40 subs a piece from GE, KC, and Jimmy. They really worked hard to get your count up. Great point, my friend. Hey, Kyle, the Titanic had more integrity than you. Tried to warn you, Kyle, that this would follow you. What does your boyfriend think of your reputation? Is he aware yet? You should tell him before he finds out from someone else. So you partnered with a couple restaurants? That means you'll be doing a hostile takeover and spending all of their money, right? To quote Greta, my message is, we'll be watching you, but maybe for other reasons than you think. Kyle, it's beyond me. Why in the hell you didn't just do this to start with in addition to non-sec instead of pulling the stunt you did? It would have probably been successful since you would have had the support of the NSS fans behind you on a new project. You knew exactly what's coming, don't you? You know exactly what's coming. Actually, I do not think that Kyle has a clue of the trouble that's quickly coming his way. The court is going to forcibly pull his head out of the sand on this. Well, that's the thing. He didn't go. For any of you guys that joined later, we looked at the paperwork in the beginning of this stream, and Kyle did not have a lawyer. He did not respond at all. He did not pay Steve. What does that mean? Maybe we should go there for a second. What does the result prove about what happened with the Death of the Non Sequitur show? What is the result of the court? And I know there's still more court to come. They got to decide what he's going to owe, how he's going to pay Steve, how much he has to pay him, whether Steve gets the channel, whether it's going to be ordered that Steve gets the channel or not, and whether Kyle legally has to give it over, whether Steve can petition YouTube to give him the channel, however it works. We know that, but what does this mean happened in the beginning? Well, I'm going to tell you, but I've already said it. In fact, this is exactly what I said in the beginning of the entire situation. I'm just going to say it again. So let's do that really fast. Okay, so when I saw the way that Kyle was acting, you guys recall, I told you all that most likely he spent the money and took all of Steve's money, and all of this was required. Get me? Because it didn't make sense if you look at it from, Kyle has the money, and he's acting this way. That didn't make sense. Why do you want any of this to happen, right? Yeah, you could burn it all down on your way out the door, but why, right? There is a thing that explained all of it back then, and that was, if you don't have the money, you spent the Patreon, you spent the Teespring, you spent the YouTube revenue, you're going to be forced to delay as long as you can. That way maybe you'll get lucky. Maybe somebody will come along and donate $10,000. Like, oh my God, I love this show. Here's $10,000. Whatever. I don't know. Whatever he was hoping for. Maybe he had a video go viral and he said to himself, damn, that's like $2,000, $3,000 per million views. I can take that money and give Steve some of it and then tell Steve, chill out and I'll send you more money next month and maybe I can work it out like that. God only knows. But he kicked Steve out, one, because he spent all the money and he didn't want Steve around to keep asking for it. And he hoped it would all go away. And why did he kick Bull out, you'll ask? Because Bull called Kyle out. He said, look, I'm not going to lie to Steve. If you're going to ask me to lie to Steve, I'm going to go tell Steve what you asked me to lie about. It's not right. And that's what Bull did. And that's why I think that Kyle kicked out Bull. If you're not going to play the game with me, you're going to lose access to non-sec. And you got to remember, in the beginning, Kyle thought he had it all. He thought he had the entire community behind him. He did not think that the community would leave. He'd probably looked at other situations where several channels or two people on one channel end up having a problem, and it always winds up one person stays, one person goes, and that's all that happens on YouTube. It's one of the first situations where I've heard of somebody taking the other person to court and winning in sense. But anyway, so after the death of the Non Sequitur Show, Kyle only talked to Steve because he had to. He'd been avoiding him for months. And I don't think he realized, fuck, dude, I'm in the studio. I'm probably being recorded. They did tell him. He then gave them permission when they said, you're being recorded. You're in the studio. We record for Patreon. Whatever they said that night, Kyle responded, I don't care. So what? I'd act this way no matter what. No, you wouldn't. Never seen Kyle act that way. Even to a crazy flat earther, I've never seen him act that way. I don't know if he did or not. I didn't watch everything, but anyway, my point is, of course, he doesn't have the money. He didn't, and all of this was, maybe I can drag it out for 6 or 8 months, and my show will still do good, and I can get some money together or something. Who knows? But here's a point I want to ask now. Now we can all ask some questions now that we kind of know what happened. And yeah, some of you will say, well, it doesn't mean he spent the money, UNIRock. You're kind of assuming. Oh, come on, bro. Up to now, you really think if he didn't have the money, he wouldn't have walked into court? Or how about getting a lawyer? Or how about just getting a hold of Steve and saying, Steve, I only have this much money left, but if I give it to you, will you stop? Because Steve already said he would, right? Well, even if he had $5,000, I think he would have called Steve and offered him $4,000 or offered him $3,000 so he could keep some of it, right? He would have offered him something. Come to some agreement so that none of this happens, because where it sits now, I said on Steve's show, and I'm going to ask you guys, we're going to go to the chat in a minute. On Steve's show, I said that my opinion was that Kyle's going to go underground, and I do think that's going to happen. And what I mean by that, it's not that he's going to go to Zimbabwe. He's not going to go to Canada or something up into the far north, and live in the Alaskan bush with the Alaskan bush people. I love that show, by the way. Anytime I can talk about it, I will. No, I think what he's going to do is avoid YouTube, because realistically, the court's going to make a logical determination on how much Kyle has to pay Steve. The court's going to know, hey, he's not, obviously doesn't have any money, so now we're going to have to draft 25% out of his paychecks, out of any revenue the guy makes until it's paid back. And Kyle's, isn't that like salt in the open wound? You did all this to Steve. Steve gave him an out, if you recall, right? In the beginning, Steve even said, look, Kyle, if you spent the money, come to me, we'll figure something out to make this work, whatever. And he ignored that, probably because he didn't think Steve would actually take him to court. But that's going to be the result. Once the court says this is how much money you have to be paid, now we're going to draft it out of his account because he doesn't have any money. And anytime that Kyle gets a job, or if he gets paid by YouTube or whatever, it's going to draft 25% of that into Steve's account until the $100,000 or $150,000 is paid off. And honestly, I don't know why anyone's capping it at $100,000. To be realistic, I would think that $50,000 to $60,000 made by non-sec each isn't that out of the ballpark. It's not that out of the question there. If you look at the views and you look at the amount of super chats that came into those old shows, and the Patreon combined with the Teespring, that's some fucking cheddar, dude. That's at least $100,000 at the minimum. So what about the show though? How? Because the court has it ever happened before Has a court ever had to step in and say, you have to give that YouTube channel back to that person? Or will they consider it a hack? Will YouTube consider it that when Kyle kicked Steve off of the show, he did not have the authority to do it? So will YouTube go in and fix it? Like, where does that go? How does that work? I don't know. It would be awesome to see Steve get the channel. Anyway, what time is it? I'm going to go to D Live in a little bit. I'll go ahead and see what you guys want to add in the comments section here before we move on, because I think that there's only a couple more things we could even do with this. And one of them would be to listen to Tjump and laugh at him. I'd love to just laugh at Tjump. That would tickle my fancy. Just to laugh at Tjump in his debate, saying all that dumb shit he said back then, now that he's proven completely wrong. You know what? I'm going to have to show this to you, because some of you guys don't even know what I'm talking about. Hold up. Tjump non... I got the chat pulled up. If you want to ask a question or make a point, please do. Sean says, just to point out, Uni, civil suit losses in South Carolina is not a garnishable thing. Oh, well, damn. Let Steve know, because Steve was saying that was a possibility, so... let's see here. Nope, that's not it. It's some dude named like Rod. Oh, okay, I'll show you this. Demonic Davros, didn't this happen to a channel called H3? Oh, well, here's what happened to H3 for those of you that don't know. H3 won a lawsuit for a guy that was copy striking them and over fair use. And H3's lawsuit was a landmark lawsuit for YouTubers and for media in general, because basically there was a guy who was trying to take H3's money over, like, you know, and H3 gets millions and millions of views, so we're talking $5,000-$10,000 over like them fair use reacting to somebody else's video. And of course you can't do that, it's illegal. So finally H3 had enough, took him to court, and in a landmark victory, H3 won. So completely different. The thing that's different about this, there's a lot of people that have been losing their YouTube channels, and YouTube won't even jump in to help them. So Busy's laugh would be epic. Oh yeah, we'll definitely get a Busy laugh sometime tonight, so for sure. What's up, Uni Nation? Secret Shadow go, hey dude, good to see you. I missed the Tjump debate. Please share, says Marty Moose. Oh, I'll share. And I'll even play some of it, because oh my God, you got to see this shit. This is one of my favorite videos on YouTube right now. Like, whenever I'm bored and there's not much to do, I'll go back and turn on this debate just so I can watch. Here's what happened. So they're having a debate for Tjump versus Rod. Is it unethical to still support the Non Sequitur show in August, middle of August, okay? So it wasn't that long ago. Now, wait, was that? Yeah, okay. So here's the deal. Rod is like sitting there bringing up good points, trying to actually debate, right? Sheena says, Uni, Tjump is a coward. He sat on the fence so he could then jump on whatever side ended up being right. He wanted plausible deniability, says Sheena. Yeah, but when Steve jumped in, though, Sheena, and that's a great point. But when Steve... Okay, here, let me do it this way. So here's what happened. Back in August, middle of August, this guy... Rod debate, and I'm sorry, my camera is messed up. I look pink. I am not pink in real life. Anytime I open Skype, it completely, I figured that out up to this point. It completely ruins my camera. I'll try to fix it after I hit play, okay? All right. So anyway, back to what I was saying here. So Rod is trying to debate the question. He's trying to legit debate this. Kyle's disappointed mom says, I love Tjump. He's such an upstanding young man. Tjump for president. How many times have I told you, Kyle's disappointed mom? Get out of my chat. I'm just kidding. I love you. I love the account. I'm kidding about that. Please keep typing. I'm trying to play along with you, Kyle's disappointed mom. I love that fucking YouTube account. What was I doing? Oh yeah, back to what I was saying. So Rod is actually trying hard to actually debate this and bring up good points and have good rebuttals, but Tjump is just derailing the entire debate. It's something he does anytime he thinks he's getting beaten, which is every time he damn debates pretty much. I don't know why they keep scheduling the guy just for comedic purposes. I don't know. After this many bad debates, you think that they would eventually, stop. So Tjump starts lying. He starts lying to Rod, and Rod's like, what? I didn't know that. And Tjump's like, yeah, I'm going to lie to you right now. Blah, 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 blah. And then Rod's like, what? That's crazy. I didn't know that. So because of Tjump doing this, Steve gets into the live chat, and James, the moderator, is like, oh, Steve's down there. Well, Steve could fix this. Steve could answer the question. Let's get Steve in. So Steve jumps in the debate and ends up owning Tjump. Tjump gets triggered and starts whining like a little baby and calling Steve names. And it's the most epic debate I've ever seen. And I think to celebrate, in celebration of Steve winning the lawsuit by default because Kyle didn't have a lawyer and didn't show up, I think we should watch some of this. I think we should watch and react to some of this because I love this freaking video. So let's do it. This will be fun.
We are excited. We got a couple of really big ones. One, tomorrow we are...
Hold on, let me get it queued up.
That individuals are not speaking out as much in regards to Steve is because of the simple fact is, and there are two factors for me on this. Number one, I only know of Steve, for example, based on his interviews and his discussions.
Okay, Rod, good point. Good point, Rod. I'm going to skip through this video, so don't get mad. If you want to go watch it, please do not watch it on Tjump's channel. Tjump takes any video that he could possibly grab and puts it up on his channel. Make sure you watch it on Modern Day Debate. They need the views. They need the ad revenue. Do not give Tjump shit. He doesn't deserve it.
People in the small.
Keep an eye on Tjump's face too. Watch his face, because dude is so smug, bro. He could freaking bottle and sell smug. I'm telling you, dude.
Positions he holds is very similar to many atheists, and that's where I think I don't think it has anything to really do with tribalism. Maybe you disagree.
So they start arguing about tribalism and its effect on the entire situation, but whatevs.
Well, I mean, tribalism is a fundamental part of human nature, so everything has to do with tribalism. Steve is pretty well known. I mean, he's known by...
Doesn't he sound like a cheerleader? Like, tribalism has everything to do with human nature, so like, every debate can be argued to tribalism. You know what I'm saying? Like, sounds like a cheerleader. Go Cows! Like, I went to the football game, Mom, and you wouldn't believe it, but they kicked a field goal.
By Matt Dillahunty and Aaron Ra. They don't really like him that much. So he's a pretty well-known entity in the atheist community. I think
I apologize to all of you. I get really silly when I start making fun of somebody.
The primary reason why more people are coming out or being more vocal is because people like me who are more interested in the actual topics. I mean,
oh my God, this is the best comedy I've ever heard in my life. People like you. You are the people that are really interested in the best topics. I'm sorry. I will get really freaking crazy on this guy. Out of Season says he always looks like he's trying to fight back a shark. He really does. He honestly does. Hold on. I got to rewind this. I got to go back like 10 seconds because holy shit.
The reason I don't really like it has to do with tribalism. Steve is,
it just he sounds like a cheerleader, like a 16-year-old cheerleader.
And that's where I think, I don't know. I don't think it has anything to really do with tribalism. Maybe you disagree.
Well, I mean, tribalism is a fundamental part of human nature, so everything has to do with tribalism.
I'm not going to say it's not a good response. I haven't thought about the actual response. I'm just going by the way how he sounds. I'm sorry.
Steve is pretty well known. I mean, he's known by Matt Dillahunty and Aaron Ra. They don't really like him that much.
Everything he says, he takes a dig at Steve. You can just tell. You know, if you want to shit on Steve all you want, good. Do it. Do it. It's your right. You get to do what you want, so go do it. Why are you doing it, though, in a debate that has to do with ethical concerns of supporting non-sec? You get me? It seems like the wrong place to constantly take stabs at Steve. But don't worry. Steve jumps in here in a minute, and it's freaking
So he's
epic.
A pretty well-known entity in the atheist community. That I think the primary reason why more people are coming out or being more vocal is because people like me who are more interested in the actual topic.
What do you have to do with this?
I mean, I don't really take this as a serious topic. It's not like...
Oh, Dave says you look at Tjump's uploads, he literally debates one topic. Is faith in God reasonable? That's it. Exactly, yeah. And I haven't listened to any of them. Oh, I'm going to. I'm going to respond to his debates. I think it'd be fun. But anyway, you're right, though.
Does God
I can imagine what side he's on, too.
exist, or is there something
No offense, I'm just saying.
Problem with the universe that we're trying to solve is just kind of a social issue. Like there's
some problem with the universe that we're trying to solve. Go, go, Tjump Rangers.
does God exist, or is there some problem with the universe that we're trying to solve? It's just kind of a social issue. Like there's that Eleanor Roosevelt quote.
And he's going to quote, yeah, if you would have asked me what do I think he's going to do in this debate, I would have said he's going to quote Eleanor Roosevelt within the first 10 minutes.
Small minds think about people, average
You know it?
minds think about events, great minds think about
Oh, tell me again, Tjump. Hold on.
ideas. Problem with the universe that we're trying to solve is just kind of a social issue. Like there's that Eleanor Roosevelt quote. Small minds think about people, average minds think about events, great minds think about ideas.
Oh my God. How ironic that he says these things before this happens. This is so epic. This is why Steve McRae he's just freaking awesome, dude. Because Steve's like, I'm not going to let this little motherfucker do this. He's not getting away with this shit. I'm not going to play it right now, but you should go back and watch this and look at Tjump's face when he finds out that Steve's about to come in. Are you hypoglycemic at the moment? You are going la. Yes, I'm very hypo. I don't know.
Afterwards?
Okay.
I'm just having fun, my dude.
I can do my thing, ask questions, and he come afterwards. But
Maybe it's the Red Bull.
like, will not be on stream with him at the same time with him.
Okay, you got it. Not a problem.
Okay, so now Steve jumps in and actually gets to defend himself a little bit, and the result is gorgeous. Thank you for the Snickers.
Steve, glad to have you on. And
Hey,
I'm not doing Snickers tonight. I'm doing a Take 5. Hey, I told you I have to get hyped up, man. Some people use crack. I use candy.
if there's
Hello, Steven.
hey, a long time no see.
So if I'm hypoglycemic, I'm getting screwed.
This morning, I don't remember. They all blurred together. So excuse me, I was out for a little bit this morning, so I'm like cutting back.
Okay, here it comes.
Now I'm chilling, having a beer. So I just, for a point of clarifications of things of that nature, let me ask TJ, if I may. You do agree we had a verbal contract, right?
Yep.
Okay, verbal contracts are binding.
Oh yeah. Now, if you hold on, I'll go as it goes.
So as long as you can show they exist, yeah.
Yeah.
As long as you can show they exist. Well, yeah, we heard Kyle admit to the verbal contract. I think that would stand up in a court of law.
When you have verbal contracts and you can actually show that we have correspondence about the verbal contract, which you would agree we probably talked about this, right?
Right.
Okay. And he also admitted there was a contract on air and in other hangouts, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Ooh.
So there's no question about the
It gets good.
establishment of having a valid verbal contract. You agree with
Yep.
that? Okay.
Yep.
So that agreement.
Well, his whole argument's destroyed in the first 2 seconds that Steve comes on. So you could have at least lied, Tjump. You could have lied or something here. So.
You agree was 50-50 on all proceeds.
As far as I know, all proceeds that you participated in, yes. I think that was what Kyle's position was.
I participated. Where do you get that idea from?
And there you go. See, now the lies start to get corrected, and it gets epic. Now, for time constraints, I'm not going to go through it, but take a quick listen, and I'll skip a little bit through so you get the breadth of how epic this is. But like I said, make sure you go we might watch this on the after show, so come to DLive and watch this with us. Make sure you give great modern day debate a view. Tjump versus Rod, is it unethical to still support non-sec? Anytime I need a video to play while I'm chilling on DLive at the end of the night, this is a great video to play in the background.
Where's your evidence for that?
I believe that was a tacit assumption.
So you have no evidence to back that assertion.
Right, because I don't have access to any of the paperwork or anything.
Okay,
so
so we
my
can
assumption is
dismiss
that Kyle wasn't going to pay you for anything you didn't actually do.
Okay, so
we
can dismiss that outright because that's just an assertion that has no relevancy. I have actual evidence. I have actual evidence. Let me finish. I have actual evidence that I've said to the lawyer that it was a 50% on everything. So let's just go with that.
Do you mind if I ask a question quick, Steve?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll end it here until we get to the after show because we've got some other stuff to do anyway. But as you can see, these people like GE, as I've proven up to now, if you just came here, obviously you don't know, but I showed some backed up tweets of Godless Engineer that show that, yeah, he was accusing Steve of committing some crimes. making excuses for why he shouldn't be paid and all that good stuff. And Tjump, I think the worst thing about Tjump is that he tried to capitalize off of the Steve hate. He just had miscalculated a little bit. He calculated the Steve hate would stay very high. And after the video Death of the Non Sequitur Show, of course, the Steve hate was reversed to Kyle hate, and I think it kind of threw a wrench in a lot of his stuff. Mr. Atheist is denying his involvement with Kyle. Holy shit. Where's it at, Dav? Because I'll pull it up. Is it on Twitter? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Hold up. Let me find it. So Mr. Atheist is denying. What do you mean? Wait. Hold on. How can he do that, though? They literally streamed several. Okay, heading to Twitter now. Heading to Twitter now, baby. Let's see this shit. Oh, now hold on. Steve's account is protected, so I don't know if I can show it. Oh, there's Steve tagged me. Thank you, UNIRock. Anytime, my dude. Anytime. You know, Steve, I got your back, man. Oh, shit, son. I don't care. You belong to any club, as a member, blah, 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 blah. Ooh. Aye. Ouch. Ouchie. Hey, David. Good to see ya. Where's your wrench? I don't know, dude. I didn't take anyone's wrenches away. Okay, hold up. Hey, Michael, thanks for rejoining, dude. Hold on, I'm looking for it right now so I can read you guys what... Oh, here we go, found it. Okay. Oh, here we go, here we go. 7 hours ago, Jimmy or Mr. 8, is that him? It is. I was looking for his Twitter. Well, let's take a look at Mr. Atheist's Twitter, but he says, I can show you this. Because it's not locked. I just don't look. Steve had some shit happen. I have no clue why, but he locked his Twitter account, so you got to be following him to talk to him right now. So I'm not going to show Steve's Twitter until he unlocks it. It's just respectful. But this is not locked on Steve's channel, so I can show you this. So Mr. Atheist, here shortly I'll begin putting out a video dedicated to why I support Warren over Bernie. It's obvious Kyle had lied about being or having a lawyer from day one. We know Kyle lied to Katie Joy as she threw Kyle under a bus. Do you feel very foolish for supporting Kyle in an issue where from the get-go he was obviously wrong? Are you going to apologize to Steve McRae? Which is a great question from Puddlefits. And Mr. Atheist says, I don't know why people think bringing this up a million times on unrelated shit is going to get me to make some big statement. It's not going to happen. No statements and no apologies are incoming. Well, at least we have this as a response and can now show it to the entire community. Perhaps because you've made yourself look like a fool over this issue, have shown absolutely no critical thinking skills and have failed at being a skeptic. It's not a good look for somebody that advocates for such things. But bury your head in the sand if that's what suits. And he says, dude, I gotta tell you, you're a nobody to me, and I genuinely do not give a shit what you think about me. Have a great life, but doubt you will, but do try? Wait a minute, Mr. Atheist. So just because this guy is making a good point about the Kyle situation, you're going to tell him, have a great life. I said that because he put 5 eyes. Doubt you will, but do try. I got to screen grab this. Hold up. This is good shit for the video. Obviously, dude, it's so obvious what's happening here. Hold on, I got to create a new folder. So basically, now that Kyle is not, now everyone knows Kyle didn't get a lawyer, didn't respond, lost in court. Now they're all getting like, finally, they're starting to type some shit out on Twitter about this now. Okay. All right. I get it. Don't want to, you don't want to take a chance. Non-sec Steve. And let me save that there. I got to save this whole thing, guys. I apologize, but I have to save this. It's just wonderful. All right. I need one more screenshot right here. Wow. So Puddle Fitz is going to have a bad life simply because you, Mr. Atheist, messed up in supporting Kyle with his crimes. Ooh, damn. All right, hold up. There's much more than just this, though. Let me see. That was only 3 hours. And he must have responded to something else here. Now, this is from Mr. Atheist's account. So give me a second. I got to save all this for my video. Oh, hell yeah. I'll get you a wrench, David. Don't worry. We just covered the main points of this on In Time. Maybe I just never got a wrench from you. Just figured I had with the rest of the non-sec team. Lol. I'll hook you up, man. I'll hook you up. Got to give me a second. I got to do it on my other monitor. This side's my... This thingy is logged in under my main account, UNIRockTv, so it doesn't let me do shit over here, but I'll get you. Don't worry. Okay. You really see what you want to see, don't you there? Puddle. All right. All right. I don't know what people are bringing this up. Okay, let's see if he said anything else really quick. You can put out a video to why you support Warren over Bernie, but you can't do a quick update on Steve McRae and Kyle Curtis, knowing that Kyle kicked Steve off of his own channel. It's just one of those things where somebody would say, like, hey, Mr. Atheist, how would you feel if somebody kicked you off of your channel where you get all your money to live off of and all that? Like, so he's just talking about Bernie Sanders a lot. Okay. All right. Well, let me check Steve's timeline, because if there's anything else there, I'll be able to see it. But of course, I can't show it. Sorry. Like I said, Steve locked his account, so I'm just not going to show it live. I do that with anyone that locks their account. Want to make sure I get all the Mr. Atheist response tweets things. He completely lacks ethics. Kyle is a con artist and a fraud, but Jimmy knows that Kyle is a con and a fraud and yet still defends him. Just a disgusting person. From Spock's evil clone. Oh, that was just now. Oh, shit. Hell yeah. Okay, so that's the Puddle Fit stuff. We got it. Oh, wow. Okay. All right. That's all of it. Of course, I showed this in the beginning of the video, but let me go ahead and show it here. Just for anyone that hasn't seen it, there's no addresses or anything in this document. Let me read this to everybody really fast, because I don't know if Steve even did, but if not, people should see it. The action was commenced by the filing of the summons and complaints on August 23rd, which this is for Kyle to go to court, you know, and show his case against Steve or whatever. On August 30th, defendant was duly served via certified mail, return receipt requested, and address to his place of residence. Number 3, defendant's time to answer or otherwise respond to the complaint expired on September 30th. Number 4, defendant failed to appear, answer, or otherwise respond. Number 5, defendant is neither a minor nor incompetent. Wherefore, plaintiff respectfully pray default be entered against defendant based upon his failure to appear, answer, or otherwise respond against Kyle. So what does this mean for all of us non-legal individuals? It means that he had 30 days to respond and scheduled to go defend himself in court. And since he didn't do it, the default goes to Steve. And now the next step will be for the court to obviously determine what Steve gets out of everything, which I'm sure it'll be 50-50 plus the other stuff. So anyway, let me do one last thing here. I want to make sure that non-sec did not go live because everybody was saying they were scheduled to go live tonight. October 1st, I guess, was supposed to be his last one. Nope. And isn't that weird, man? Non Sequitur and Mr. Atheist, take your calls. There's that Mr. Atheist guy. Just keeps on popping up. Okay, so for any of you guys that have not seen it, of course, this entire topic rests on this video, the Death of the Non Sequitur Show. I'm not going to play any of it here. You can go to Steve's channel and watch it. Just search it out. But so basically, Kyle and Steve hadn't sat down and talked to each other for months, and that about the channel they both started. Kyle finally sits down with Steve, knowing that Steve wants to talk about getting some money out of the channel that he's been running for this time and never got paid yet. Kyle says, well, we're going to not schedule you anymore other than maybe a couple days a week. You don't get paid for anything that happens on the channel unless you're there, and we get to dictate whether you are scheduled or not. Deal with it, or we're going to kick you out. And Steve's like, no, I'm not doing that. This is half my channel. I don't agree with that, so you don't have the authority to do it. And while live, Kyle takes Bull and Steve off of the Non-Sec show, and this is what started it all. This is the video that swayed the entire thing. So obviously go watch it. But if you want to make fun of Tjump with me, and let's see what time we got. Oh yeah, it's midnight. If you want to make fun of Tjump with me, I'm going to go react to Tjump's debate and celebrate the fact over on DLive and Periscope. I'm going to go there and kind of celebrate Steve's win here by making fun of Tjump for this ridiculous position. So why do it though? Like, isn't that mean of me to do that to him? It's not mean in any way, because Tjump was deceptive and lied and misrepresented things in this stream. Eventually, he also debated Red's rhetoric. You know what? We might just watch the Red's rhetoric one, because I haven't seen all the Reds. I've seen all of this. I haven't seen all the Reds debate, so we might do that instead. But it's funny because Tjump didn't know. Steve wasn't scheduled to be there, and it was due to Tjump kind of saying some things that were inaccurate, and Rod was like, dude, I didn't know that. Like, how do you know that? The first thing Steve does is come in and correct him, which is just epic. We'll probably watch a little bit of both over on DLive. So come with me to dlive.tv/UNIRockTV. I'll type it in the chat. Where the hell is my chat? Oh, it's underneath my Streamlabs. dlive.tv/UNIRockTV. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate all of you. How long did we stream for? Let me make sure. Oh my God, yeah, we're overtime hardcore. So let me get my final statements about the whole situation, and then we'll get out of here. All right. So some people would say that it's surprising to see that Kyle would act this way, but it's really not. If you follow some of the stories that we've looked at over the last while, some of the conspiratorial stuff, some of the flat earth stuff, you notice that these types of arguments happen a lot. And people do tend to take the side of whoever's popular or whoever has more subscribers or whoever they think is right. It's not that surprising that this happened, honestly, but what is surprising is that the community followed the evidence, which is the Death of the Non Sequitur show and Kyle's admissions, and they didn't let Kyle get away with that, which I'm very happy about, honestly. It's a little bit... It's probably one of the best stories where there's a good outcome in the end on YouTube, because you never get that. Those types of things don't happen here on YouTube. Just to update you, there's a story out there called The Mystery of the Hacked YouTube Channel. And it has to do with a guy. I put this out a long time ago. It has to do with this guy named, what was his name? Hugh? Basically, this guy stole a guy's channel. He wasn't partners with the guy, but he stole the guy's channel. And when I did the video, and even all the way up to now, he'd been posting on YouTube's forums and doing all this stuff. And he's never gotten his channel back. The Hugh guy still had the channel when I looked last month. And it wasn't his channel. Even because in the URL, it's not Hugh's URL. It's some other guy's URL. something weird happened. Hugh got control of the channel somehow. I don't know if he hacked it. I don't know if he talked the guy into giving him his password. I don't know what he did. In the long run, though, a lot of times people can steal channels from other people or can get a hold of other people's channels, and there's never a happy ending. So it's really a happy ending for Steve to have it happen this way. Oh my God, isn't that like the perfect image to end the show on? Thanks to Steve McRae. He's been excellent through this. I'm going to do a sum up video, not just a live stream, so that you give everything I showed you tonight, whether it was the deleted Godless Engineer tweets, whether it was Mr. Atheist basically saying, hey, if you bring this up, you're going to have a bad life. I still can't believe he said that. That's just so fucked, dude. But most of all, thank you to you guys for helping to support our show. Keep an eye out, because my next few videos, I've got a few awesome things that we're going to talk about. One is this really crazy mystery on YouTube that's turned into an insane conspiracy theory, but it all boils down to somebody lying to get views in the end. So keep an eye out. It's going to be a badass video. I'd never even heard of the mystery, but it's got a bunch of views on it. Not a lot of people are covering it, so I'm going to put that out soon. I'm going to respond to something that me and the Shills talked about. So if you haven't been to the YouTube channel, the Shills, I was on their show, oh shit, man, few days ago or whatever. So when they had me on, there were a few things we talked about, and I want to go into it in depth a little bit, so I'm going to put out a video on that. And I've got some more Flat Earth debunking to put out, and then the video that I've been working on for like 2 months, the Nathan Oakley documentary is coming out. So now you'll know every controversy that happened with Nathan Oakley, how he, continued doing the Flat Earth debate, how many times has he been wrong, how many things has he done dishonest to try and hide, being exposed as a glober and all those things. All of that's going to be in the documentary. It's going to be an excellent video. So keep an eye out for all of it, and I'll see you tomorrow night right here on UNIRock 2. Steve, man, congratulations, all I can say. See you guys. I'm going to DLive right now, dlive.tv/UNIRockTV. All right, sending the signal over to DLive right now, so I'll see you guys there.